Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in beautiful Paris at a jazz club. For the ones that love Paris and love music and jazz, there's a lot of very famous Americans and English people and from all around the world that come here. It's called Jazz Club Méridien Étoile Porte Maillot. But today I'm here with LIM, that is a famous Korean pianist, and I've interviewed LIM many times here in France, but never in English. So this is a first for me in English. It's a delight to have you and to do this interview in English and to get the word out, because I love this woman. She has so much wisdom and is rocking and rolling the classic industry. Huh? You're a bit of a rebel, aren't you?
Well, thank you for presenting with such nice words. Well, I'm also a big fan of you because I've been following all your videos. I've been listening to all your videos, and I don't know. There is such a great perception of the essence of each human being. That you have that capacity, to perceive the human being, and then I don't know. In front of you, I can just speak during 10 hours, and then I can just go on. I just love being with you, talking with you. So it's a great privilege for me to be here.
Well, thank you. And we've done a few videos to talk about your background in French. So I wanted here to just speak about your background and also some of the wisdom that you're sharing in your book. I'm not sure it's in English, but the Sound of Silence, which would be the title of the book here, that is in French. So you were at 12 years old, you decided to go to France. Tell us about your story back then. You decided to play piano, and this was what you were going to do. Your soul was calling you. You had a huge calling.
Yeah, well, I had that sense of mission. I didn't play piano because it was a pleasure. Absolutely not. When I was 3 years old, I just started piano very naturally, like many kids in South Korea. Playing piano is very normal. There was a boom of piano learning, everywhere, and there was many small institutions of small piano institutions. So I was just one of those kids, and it was very normal to start playing piano. But I come from a family that is absolutely not a musician at all. And my family is very marked by wars, Korean wars. So, we didn't know who was Beethoven or Mozart or whatever, like Schubert. Those persons were complete strangers. But very bizarre, very strangely, I was always called. I had that calling that I had to play piano, like a mission, but nobody told me to play piano whatsoever. It was even bizarre to play piano.
What's going on with our kid?
Yeah, I know. I was kind of UFO or something, and then I just wanted to begin a new life in France. I had that need to begin a new adventure. Also because I don't come from a family that is a very, how do you say, privileged for learning piano. I don't come from that kind of family where you do a huge studies or you just learn piano and then you're those genius kids and you're forced to
You had to fight for it.
Yeah, nobody was forcing me for whatsoever. I was so led by my own, actually, and I was just, very, very, very too much free, I would say. Anyway, so I really wanted to go in France and enter the conservatory, Paris Conservatory, where at 12. Well, that was my dream, And then and I arrived in France alone. I was in host family, and then so on. I did all my studies in the conservatories, and then I was. Then I really met the music for real. Before I was just moved by that calling, that mission that I had to play piano. Well, in France, the music was my only language because I didn't speak a word of French. I was in a totally a different culture, and all my friends didn't speak Korean, of course, and I couldn't, but there was lots of racism as well. And I was a total UFO as well in France, you know. It was quite hard, but fortunately, one day my music teacher of our class called me and he told me, "Can you play some piano for us?" And then I said, "Yeah, I will try, of course." And then for the first time, I had the impression that finally I can speak to the kids. Because I couldn't speak with my mouth, you know, I didn't speak a word of French. And then just incredible, after I finished my piece, they just had that applause. I mean, there was that huge silence that was terrifying for me. And then they just began giving me applause. And then suddenly everybody wanted to become friends with me, which was very bizarre. And, you know, in that way, piano and music was my only link with the outside world. The piano and the music was my only language that people could understand, you know.
Language of the soul, huh?
Absolutely, and the piano and music became the absolute for me, the savior of my life. You know, it was not just for a career, for vocation, for just dream, or for my future. Music became really all my life, and the necessity, the absolute necessity.
Yeah, and we can hear it when you play or how you play, or that you have this need and want to express yourself and fully be free. Huh? How did that progress? What kind of advice, or how did you set yourself free to fully go beyond the person that composed the music and to interpret it in such a way that is unique to you?
Well, for sure, I don't search unicity or originality at all. But what I search is, for sure, authenticity and sincerity. And being completely in harmony with my essence, with myself, while being aware of the essence of the composer and his intention in his musical works, which is very important. You know, I'm persuaded by one thing, is that if you dig very deeply in the universe of the composer, you end up by meeting his own essence. Because a composer like Beethoven, they expressed all their soul and all their being. So in their music, you have that pure essence that is in that music. And when you meet that essence, because we are all one, I'm absolutely convinced by that. Because we are all one, then you also meet your essence. And by meeting the essence of the composer, well, and by understanding him, his world, his universe, why did he compose that? Why did he write that kind of notes instead of those notes? And
which state of mind was he in?
Exactly, and then which state of spiritual conflict maybe, or what was the social background and the historical background when he was composing that music, to whom he wrote letters, and what was written in his diaries, for example. So I begin to search all those kind of materials. So it's kind of Sherlock Holmes work, you know. And then by trying to understand that human being, you also understand yourself, because I think that in one human being you have the humanity, because we are all one. I mean, we have the soul, we have the same essence, we come from the same place, I'm sure. And then when you feel sadness, I can feel it, and when I feel joy, you know what does that mean to feeling joy, you know. So when you study so much of human being, that is called, for example, Beethoven, through his music, which is the absolute sublime essence of his being, then you end up by understanding yourself and the human being as well, you know.
And you're not afraid on that path to lose yourself? Or, I mean, I guess the ego can be threatened, of losing its identity to fully bond with the music and go with that. So how did you deal with that? Because I guess we can all, use it in our own lives.
But but it is a very good question, because if I was guided by my ego, well, I would think about the tradition, the tendency. What should I do to please the public? What should I do to have good critics? And what should I do to please the academism or the critics, And then you really start to use yourself, because you're not playing in harmony with yourself. You're just playing to succeed. You're just playing to being, famous or successful. Then you really use yourself. And maybe you feel that this sonata has to be played in that way because it's the calling of your heart. You want to do that, but maybe the tendency, the tradition doesn't want that. Maybe they want that piece to be played in that tempo, in that way, in that manner, whatsoever.
And the list is long, yeah.
Yeah, and the list is long, absolutely. And I think it's very important to have that courage to say, no, I'm sorry. I feel that piece has that expression, and I searched a lot and I studied really hardly to be in osmosis, in harmony with the essence of that piece and the composer and myself. And I feel like that. And of course, you can have the courage only if you have worked hard, of course. That's the only condition, but with joy, with passion. That is really very interesting, because for me that is the real freedom. The real freedom comes with a solid base, in a way that, for example, let's say that I want to work on a musical piece, but I think it can also apply to other areas of life. I just speak about my area, that is music interpretation. Well, when I start to study one musical work, what I do is that I have to absolutely be in love with that piece. Just I cannot live without playing that piece. That's the number one. Great. And then after that, I had that intuition. After I had that heart calling, I play. So I have that physical encounter between the very sensual encounter, actually, between the piece and me. And then I have some ideas of, I guess that the composer was feeling that, or his intention was that. And then only after that, I begin to search about the historical context and the social and the theoretical and musicological context of that piece. So you have the heart, intuition, and the consciousness, the material level that are in harmony. And I work that piece so hard that anyone can wake me up at 3 a.m., I can play that piece. No problem. You can wake me up like at 2 a.m. and tell me, well, HJ, can you play the Rachmaninoff Concerto No. 2? Okay, no problem. Then I reach that level of work. And then I'm really free. And then I can go to the stage and then expect the unexpected. I expect the unpredictable, and I can really expect everything. And then I can just jump, and I can just play, and I can just be absolutely authentic with the whole. I can be absolutely one with the public, with the composer, with the whole, with me, with everybody. And then I can just fly. And in that state of level, Beethoven himself can come towards me. He can just be, how do you say, come down from the heaven and tell me, well, HJ, you are playing that sonata in that way, but I do not agree. I think it's not good. I would say to him, okay, sir, I'm so sorry, but it's the best that I can. It's just how I can play it. I'm so sorry. Maybe you are thinking that way for that piece, but it's your unicity, it's your heart. I'm giving all my heart, all my knowledge, all my soul and body for that piece.
And more.
And more, absolutely. And if president of a jury come to me and say, oh, this is not good, then I'm sorry, whatever, then that's
You don't need outside approval anymore at that stage.
Well, at any stage, in a way that I need my, how can I say, I think I'm the most strict, the most severe and horrible judge of myself, and the music itself is the horrible judge. I just have to listen my own recording of a concert, and then I'm down on earth. Okay, go work. I don't think it's so important anyway. It's also important to have feedbacks, echoes from other musicians, other people. It really is important to have, of course, a master or maestro or a great teacher that guides you and that look after you, maybe from far or from close. Very important. But their approval is not the purpose. Yeah. The purpose is to serve that music as best as you can in a most authentic and sincere way, and to give the best of the best that you can for that piece, and that's why it's very important to not lose your ego, because the moment you start to wanting to please somebody, then it's not you anymore, It's maybe your teacher that is playing, it's maybe Beethoven that is playing, it's maybe a jury or a critic that is playing through your fingers, but it is no more you, It's just it's so important, because, Beethoven can come and tell me, well, this sonata cannot be played like that. Well, after all, at the end, I'm the one who will be playing that piece with my fingers, with my heart, with my brain, with my consciousness. You
might as well have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not him. At the end, that's me playing that. So I have to be completely free and happy and then in love,
And then your real authenticity and beauty comes out. If you haven't listened to this interview from the standpoint of your own life and listening to it, how this applies to your life, please do so. Look at it again, listen to it again, because there's different levels of listening to all these interviews that I do. And this one, I think, is particularly helpful to grow in one's life, to dare to live our truth, to fully express ourselves. You can apply it on many levels. If you have kids playing music, please have them listen to this. They might free them. And thank you so much for this delicious interview. I know we'll have a pleasure to do this again. I'm going to interview Songdam now. That is a beautiful Korean master that LIM loves and that you've studied with and travels with. So I'm going to...
Absolutely amazing Buddhist master, yeah, absolutely. And he's a great singer as well.
And he's here.
He's here, yeah, absolutely.
I've interviewed them live already many times with an audience here in Paris, and I'll be doing this here. We're at Porte Maillot, so on the west side of Paris, or a little bit outside, and I'll interview Songdam now. So if you want to listen to this other interview, there is more to come. Big kiss from beautiful, delicious Paris. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you in beautiful concerts and reading your books. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilou.
Big kiss, delicious co-creators, wherever you are in the world. Yoo-hoo!